Yes, and that problem was supposed to be fixed last night because, and I, looking at this, I'm thinking it got fixed on the main map, but not the details map. So I'm making a note of that. That was a total mystery for about 4 days because it just disappeared, and then we uncovered the mystery because Google disabled that function. And wait a second, now I'm looking for. They just they Google has decided that they are abandoning portions of their mapping and code functions. So they no longer does Google support building those little clusters. So all the code for building the clusters has now been moved out to GitHub, but internal in the Google code, they hard coded where to go get those clusters. So the community has now discovered that if you go in deep into the Google code and change it from a hard coded to someplace in Google to your own cluster icons, they show up. So apparently there are two places we have to do that, and I've got that down, so we'll get that fixed quickly because that was just fixed last night. So it's markers on DOI map. All right, good. Glad we caught that one. All right, layer icon top left. Yeah. Yes, that's right. It'll match anything. Yep. Yes. Whoops. Nope. Didn't want to do that. I think I'm. Let me just make my area here a little bit bigger because I think we're missing one there. All right. Yes. Probably not. I think that's those ones that we were playing with from that last exercise were probably cleared out. Oh no, we do have a shake map. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would be two different places it could come from. One, either the California Earthquake Clearinghouse, or the second one, the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, also has provided those in many cases. The owner of the data is actually the U.S. Geological Survey, and we're conducting I think it's the end of October, conducting our first big exercise where we're participating with them. So I'm hopeful that they sign up for just routinely providing the shape map to us. Liquefaction is a form, and I now know all these things. Um, it's it's basically when the ground shaking happens because of the content of the soil. It effectively liquefies, turns more closer into sand than anything else. And what I've just pulled up there are areas that are prone to liquefaction based on the California Geological Survey's studies. Okay, let's try that one. All right, so on iOS, the GIS. Could you turn the liquefaction on and off and see whether it does the same thing? Oh, okay. Hmm. Well, that's odd. I wonder whether it's doing something inside of the iPad caching. If you would go up to the two green arrows pointing at each other and click on them, that does a refresh. Still there, huh? All right, I'll make a note of that and we'll take a look. Right. Yeah, you're doing yours 10 days from now. We should be able to fix anything that we've discovered. Try hitting the globe. It didn't go away with the refresh. All right. So that was, you turned GIS layers on and off, and it never turned off the shake map. Or were you turning it off on and off here? Okay. All right. And that didn't work. That didn't work either. Okay, good. All right. Well, let's see. The heat map is designed. Actually, this is a good one because why don't you turn it on and I'll show you what it does. Uh, and mine is doing all sorts of weird things here. This is one that we're delivering for the end of June. So we just put it up here so the clearinghouse can play with it a little bit. So actually, what it does is create a heat map around the items that you have used for search and rescue. So no, how about if we just ignore it for you? We need to come up with a good story because what it does is help you. There are a whole bunch of people out there looking to find something. It tells you where they haven't looked so that you can concentrate your effort on finding the hotspots where nobody has searched. Uh, so I don't have an immediate use that you could make of it, but after we play around someday, we might be able to come up with something. Um, yeah, tracking you're not going to be able to demo, but I think it is pretty interesting because if you've got, eventually that will produce lines where your people who you know have been. So if they turn on the app and they're going from one clinic to another clinic and having to go around a debris field or something, you'll actually be able to see where they are every 30 seconds. That interacts with the heat map because it says, gee, if somebody drove down that street, even though it's a high likelihood for having damage on that street, we know that somebody drove down there. So it sort of pushes the heat map away. So I would say for right now, because we're building a simulator, since in order to demo it, you need a bunch of people moving around out there. So long answer is no, I wouldn't touch tracking now. Yep. No, that's exactly what you would want to use it for. So yeah, as that comes online, I don't the that piece of it again. It's delivering on some point in the middle of June, so probably not ready for that, but could be an enhancement that you can show people some point in the summer, maybe. Down at the bottom, you don't see a home icon. Oh, do you see the arrow next to the home or that? Okay. Let me check on that. Um, and do you have the words under them? No words. Okay. Yeah. Um, I didn't. I thought at one point I saw that and it actually had a home. So let me find out what happened to that. It's possible there was no need of because you can only use Apple's icons across that bottom strip there. So let me make sure we get something better. Oh yeah, stretched horizontally. Yeah, because I look at this one. I don't know what the actual logo looks like. So this actually looked a little bit like it was squeezed horizontally. Is that how does that look to you? Okay, so we got one squeeze, one stretch. All right. Okay. Well, that's how you get plans. Yeah. Correct. Yep. You can add anything else as an item of interest, but the plans don't go with it. It was the yeah, it was the plans that we protected. I think, and this is actually a note I'm making, I think that it is alpha on the iOS and distance on the Android. So, or random. So, yeah, yeah. Let me take a look at that. We really don't like the way that came out. Anyhow, um, we probably won't. Yeah. Pardon me. A search function on the apps themselves is not easy. it turns out. But let me make a note on that. Yeah. I've just taken a couple notes here on. Okay. I've got all those notes on that. Yeah. All right. I'll just stick a different one on there. Okay. And I just got my iPad powered up enough. So give me 1 minute, and I will also be able to have a. Okay. Yes. Yep. Be right there. All right. I've got that, so now I can follow along. And, huh, um, oh, I see the icon on the box with the arrow. Yep. All right. Okay, now I can follow along in both directions. Okay. Right. These are these create IOI inside of Spot On. A no. Now I've gotten all the way through it. No, they yeah. No, the Spot On, or sorry, the ReadyNet integration works only with these specific IOI, the ones that have been created about the healthcare. So these are for other things. Sure, there are the four different levels are intended to provide. Pardon me. Yeah, the four different levels are intended to have somebody be able to report in on what they are seeing. So one simply says, "Hey, I'm seeing this." The second one, the watch level, is intended to tell folks that they ought to be paying attention to this particular area. Third level says, "Hey, I actually have a problem here that you ought to be responding to," and the fourth one is emergency, as it says there. So this is really forming that network of what we call the trusted crowd out there. When I'm trying to figure out what's happening in my community, instead of looking at Twitter feeds and things like that of a bunch of teenagers, this is getting those trusted people who are saying more authoritative things coming in. I would see it as for the uh, clinic employees as a way for them to become part of the whole, um, again, trusted cloud, reporting things into you or into their own organization. And a, um, yeah, I don't know that I had not come up with anything better or more specific for uh, somebody reporting into their employer about a problem than those four different categories. So that's the nature of this thing. The spot report is to gather information about things that are unfolding out there from people who you know. Yeah, report it. Yeah, yeah. Report is basically say, hey, I just noticed this. So there's a pothole out there. Uh, this one says you got a crowd of people gathering on this street. Somebody ought to be paying attention to it. The problem is, hey, they're now throwing rocks. And over here it says, okay, and there's somebody who's seems to be in distress because they got hit by a rock. Yeah, yeah, and I can see why that doesn't happen. Um, actually, it's redundant to use those same words. Um, let me think about that because severity really isn't those. Those are sort of four levels of reporting, and severity should be, um, you know, urgent, medium, small, or some equivalent like that. So having those duplicated, that's a good point. I'm going to see whether we can do something else about that. So that's my severity. Good catch. Okay. Yep. Right. Yep. Hmm. Right. Yep. We'll take a look. Uh, and you're on the iPhone now. Oh, well, that's interesting because I'm on the iPad and there's a good quarter of an inch. Huh. Okay. Yes, you're right. Landscape. Perfect. Well, it can be anything that somebody writes in there. We just filled that in so that somebody can literally go, I want to send a report. Poof, it's out there. Somebody at least knows that this report is made. The report, though, and that's why we duplicated in the description who's sending it. The title really would be crowd forming. outside of my clinic. And then the description might add the words that seems like 50 people out there that are, aren't happy that they're not getting vaccinated or whatever. So putting those things in there was really just to make certain that if somebody didn't have time to do anything but touch a couple buttons, they didn't have to fill anything in, and at least some information got pushed through. But my view on all those is that somebody ought to be, if they've got the minute, they ought to be actually telling us what this thing is and describing it. Yeah, the reason is that we've locked our doors, perhaps, and a lot of people can't get in. But the field observation just seemed again another way for somebody who didn't have time to write anything to communicate that, hey, I'm out. I've actually seen this thing happening. Was why we stuck that in as the reason. But it would be if there's a known reason why this problem is happening, that's where I would put that. Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm going to do a document so that we'll do the equivalent since I'm on a computer. Oh, wait, no, I can do that on my phone. Hang on a second. I know how to do that now because let's go back there. All right. I'm not on the computer. I'm on the phone over here. All right. So we do a dot camera. I'm going to take a picture of that. And the picture shows, I click OK. And I now get this. So in here you have what you just typed about water bottle. Okay, I'm now doing that on my iPhone or iPad. Ah, image description. Okay. Yeah, I guess that was just sort of a natural capability that the iPad has. Ah, okay. And that tells me that it was in there. Okay. Yeah, I, just the difference in capability there between the two products. I'll ask. Um, so yeah, just press done. That's now when you get your water bottle or my file name up here. That's saying okay, we're ready to go. If you want to do another camera, you can click and take a second picture. But done means done. Yes. Right, and then down at the bottom, I end up doing a submit for the spot report. So, yeah. All right, takes me back to the home screen. Correct. Let's see. Mine came back and asked me, it told me it would like to use my location again. And what did you get? Did you get back to the map frame? Oh, really? Um, yeah, my iPad went through just fine. So on the status map, and nothing's clickable. Well, let's go do another quick picture and just see whether we can replicate that. And I'm going to do the same thing. Yep. I'm going to do a spot problem this time, add a picture. Huh. All right. Okay, so let me get this down. We've got. Yeah, I just went through the same process. Let me finish that. Then back to the home screen. Status map. Yep, I'm fully operational. Okay, so the process was spot report, camera, save, home, freeze. Now on my iPad, let me just try that one more time. Well, on my iPad, it asked whether it could use the location, and then went through. Ah, okay, good. No camera, and okay. Could Yeah, actually, the pictures you've taken are probably on there. Really? Huh. Let me try. Yep. All right, that's good. Also, media, and that note that the picture was not in the gallery. Okay, excellent. Yep. That one will definitely be fixed. And by the way, Apple just had a big announcement that they're now going to speed all submissions of not new products, all updates of products. And they're now saying instead of 2 weeks, it's 2 days. So that will be great aid for us. All right, so we got the spot report freezing whenever you use media. All right. Right. Now it should. So let me just try this one over here. Um, let's go up into the layers menu and see whether. Yes, they do. Yeah. Yep. There should be one of them sitting. Yes. Yeah. Yes, it should. And when you submit, just let me make one quick note here. Okay, so you've got the so we had a filter. Let me just check, make sure I've got the same filter you do. Filter should be on, and we should have those two things added. And I'm getting, oh, wonder whether all these, no. So CCA, LIC. There you are. And this is sorted alphabetically. Let's see what spot reports. Ah, right. Yep. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spot reports. There's your crowd forming. So at least we know they're getting there. Let's go back to the filter here. Let me switch to distance. Because I'm located in the center of Los Angeles, which is really close to where you are, I discovered. All right, so there's, okay, there are the set of spot reports. So those are working fine, but right. All right, let's turn the filter on. Oops, just once, on. I want to check. We had that problem reported earlier that the filter wasn't working on the map, so I just want to make sure we got it working here. As a matter of fact, that's I'm seeing over here on the other one. The one on the right is our development system. So that's what the next version is, and it's not finding that either. No. This is Fire. On the left-hand side is, no, that's the Android. Okay. Yeah, it definitely got hung up there in the filter. And I turned that filter. Yeah, I turned that filter on. All right, we got some issues going with the filter. And that's not. Yeah, and it's also possible that every one of these, oh yeah, that's why they're all showing up on my filter, because it's everywhere. So, all right, that makes me feel better. So that maybe the filter isn't completely crazy. Um, what? Okay, I see what you're saying. That is, I think that's in every single one of them. Now that's in, at least I'm going to think that it isn't, because that is in every single one of the records that exist now. Uh, right. Well, let's see what the spot report says. Spot reports call it an incident. And you got CCALAC up here. Um, yes, this would be whoever the user is and the organization that they have signed up to. All right. Right. All right, let me see what we can do on that. Yes. Nope, they're everything that's there. Update is actually what we use. These are updates to the original data that's there. This is associated with the specific record, this community clinic one. The spot report becomes equivalent to this community clinic record. It's up to the originator. Yeah, right. Right. If it is not normal circumstances. Now, just a quick aside, I've got a description that I haven't sent off to you because I wanted to make sure we got to a harmonious place that we can handle on the spot on side, we can handle those everyday assessments. And I have a way that it's a really easy change for ReadyNet to handle those everyday assessments. And it's by using that reopen button or that reopen choice that when you and I first talked about it, you decided that was an additional step that you didn't want your clinics to take. So if they were to say, okay, I'm now reopened, as long as they're reopened, all those assessments would take place and continue to come in and fill up there. Yeah, yeah, yep. That's why I didn't send it to you. But I just wanted to let you know that I believe we have a way that we can make that portion of it work pretty efficiently. Correct. Yep. Well, you're breaking up on me. Yes. This integrates spot on with external applications. So there are a couple in geological survey and damage assessment that actually connect now with spot on response and take a portion of the spot on data, add it into that program. You fill out the data in that program, it sends it off to Exchange Core, and then it comes back to spot on response that way. So, not unlike the function that you have with ReadyNet, but we've done it directly. Um, it, if we were, actually, yes, when I threw out the thought of duplicating the assessment in spot on response so that a assessment for assessment could go in spot on response rather than just be read in spot on response. It could be created in spot on response. That's where this would come in. I would send people up there to the reports one. They would click on ReadyNet and they would get a form that looked just like the assessment form from ReadyNet. So for now, nothing. Yeah, right. Sorry. Yeah, I understand, and I think I would be very happy as you move over the next 10 days getting towards your demo to executives to sit down and work with you a couple more times after you start to put your script together. We could play it back and forth, and this was very useful to me to get your feedback on a lot of these things and discover a couple things that we got to make sure aren't broken. So please feel free to tap me at any time to help you get ready for this because I know it's a big show. I think so. Let's check. Next Wednesday, let's see, I've got it. We'd have to be in the car at 1:30. So if you wanted to do it, well, you see it there. Don't you? So as early as you want to get in, I've got up until approximately, I have to be in the car at 1:30 my time. Yeah. Okay. And I'll black that whole time out. All right, great. Let's see, 10, I blocked it all the way out until I have to leave. So I've got it from 8:30 to 10:30, whatever time we use. All right, well, I'm going to put a down there so that I at least have that blocked out. Is that Memorial Day or following Monday? So Memorial Day weekend. Okay. All right, terrific. I'll be here for you. All right, take care. Bye. Have a good weekend.